Hey, it's Pauline, and today we're talking about how to deal with disappointment. Big disappointment. Like, you might want to cry disappointment. Just first of all, know that everyone has gone through huge disappointment. Um, and I'm going to share with you one of my own. Maybe that'll help to give you an idea of how I handled it. So, I was kind of in the place where I was looking for a new house and just feeling really discontent with where we were living. And I just had in my mind that this place, this location, is where I want to live, this city. And so we started looking for places in that city, and it's really expensive. I mean, it's a great place to live, and I just knew it was where I wanted to be. So we started looking, and I found a condo because at the time that was really all we could afford. It was a house just seemed out of our price range. So, and maybe you've had this experience before where you're willing to settle for less than what you normally would because you want something so badly. So even though we had a big family by then, we were willing to settle for a condo that had bedrooms, and there wasn't a backyard, which was kind of important to me with kids, but it had enough grass that I thought, well, maybe I can kind of let them out and watch them in the grass behind the backyard. It is a first level. So, and I did, we have lived in apartments when we first got married, and I hated having to walk from all these groceries. And now I had even more kids and more groceries. I'm going to have to walk from the parking lot to the condo. But I thought, well, it's a great location and it's where I want to be. And it's close to my husband's work. So all these reasons I was willing to compromise on a lot. And so that's when I started praying and even fasting. Just really hoping God would listen to me and give us this place. And I was so worried and so afraid that the people who had put in an application before us were going to get it before we did. And so that day, I just kept calling the lady, and she was busy or didn't get to our application yet. And by the end of the day, I finally called and said, there's 10 minutes left in the day. I'm ready to run over there if I need to finalize the deal. And she said, oh, the people who put in the application before you, they came in and it's going to be theirs now. And I was like, oh. And she even offered to refund the application fee, but I was so distraught. I was like, oh, I'll talk to you later. I just got off the phone and cried. And, I had done everything. I thought I was fasting, I was praying, I was giving it over to the Lord, and yet it wasn't going to be ours. And I was so disappointed. And so I want to share 3 lessons that I've learned. Number 1, don't settle. Just make your dream bigger. And this is a hard concept to master, but you really can achieve everything you dream. Now I look back and think how miserable. I mean, it would have been pretty awful living in a tiny little condo with no backyard and all these kids. It was so dark because there was so many other condos blocking out the sunlight. I would have missed the sunlight and having a backyard that I can know the kids are safely playing in without having to watch them every second. And like I said, the groceries would have been insane trying to walk that far with groceries. And the kitchen was ridiculously tiny. I mean, there are so many things I look back and say, wow, that was the hand of Providence protecting me from a really bad decision, despite the wonderful location. What I needed to do was make my dream bigger. And by doing that, you have to have faith and believe that it's going to happen. Mark 11:24 says, whatever you ask, you shall receive when you believe that you have received it. So when you ask, and you ask in faith, you need to believe it's going to happen. And that was the other thing I learned was, though I was asking, I wasn't believing that I had received it. So there really was no faith. The Bible tells us over and over again that when you ask, you have to ask in faith. And by me constantly calling the lady and being so worried that someone's going to get the application, I really wasn't believing I was going to get it. My actions were demonstrating a total lack of faith. I was not chill, all right, God's got me covered. He's got me. He's going to take care of this. I was super nervous and worried about it. So that's another thing I learned is really asking and believing in faith. And then also Just knowing that if it didn't work out, the Bible also says you have to ask in accordance with God's will. God had something bigger planned for me. And if it's not in accordance with his will, he may want something even more amazing for you. You have to be patient and wait on the Lord. Be still and be patient and wait on him. And know that there's more amazing things coming your way. So just know that and get excited. And I know it's hard in the midst of the disappointment and just feeling like, how could this have happened? But this is what you have to do, is pick yourself up, pull yourself out of the mire and tell yourself it's okay, and start thinking of all the amazing things that you have. Be grateful for what you have. Another thing I learned was I was really discontent, and the Bible tells us we have to be content in all things. So learning how to be content in my circumstances was key to getting even more circumstances, because no matter what you do, there's going to be times when you are no matter where you're at, it's like I read the kids the book, The Country Mouse and the City Mouse, and they switched houses, and the city mouse goes to the country and the country mouse goes to the city. And I shared with the kids that they had all these reasons why they thought each other's houses would be the better house, but they came to realize that there's no place that is perfect. And they were just happy being where they were comfortable with. So practicing and getting the habit of practicing a spirit of contentment. And I want to say too that having a spirit of contentment doesn't mean that you're settling. It doesn't mean that you are like, okay, this is the best I can do. That to me is settling. I said before, you're dreaming bigger. But having a spirit of contentment is being grateful for where you're at. So knowing that maybe God's got amazing, bigger plans for you, and knowing that he's got bigger and better plans for you, and this is not where you're going to live forever and stay forever, but that you can be happy no matter where you're at, in a small house, in a big house, in a country house, in the city house, or in the state that you don't want to live in, that you can be joyful and rejoice in all things. And a lot of it comes from your thoughts. And I just want to say your thoughts are so powerful. You have no idea the power that is contained in your brain and how you choose your reality. If you believe that your house is awful and you start saying it to the family and you start developing this attitude, it will become awful, and you just have to change your thoughts. And it's a habit, and you have to practice it today. I cannot stress this enough. You cannot be a negative person anymore. So don't be negative and call yourself a realist. I am an ex-realist. I speak from experience. It brings the entire family down. You have to be a positive thinker. When you start to say, oh, I hate the way this house looks, and I hate that this is falling apart and that, instead, in turn, tell yourself, I love, and fill in the blank of what you love about your situation. And be patient and wait on the Lord and dream big and fill your life with positive, affirming thoughts and gratitude. And you will be so richly blessed. So if you haven't hit subscribe, definitely do that. I'll be sharing more videos and tips. And I'm so blessed to have this time with you. Leave comments and let me know if this has helped you or what topics you struggle with. I'd love to chat with you about it. All right, until next time.